Hello and welcome to the update. I'm Heidi Tiltons. The PM has condemned the actions of a group of neo-Nazis amid bipartisan support to ban the Nazi salute. The issue has dominated discussions following a heated rally in Melbourne. Anthony Albanese has told Ricky Lee, Tim and Joel hostile behaviour is never warranted.
That, of course, should be condemned by all Australians. There's no place in Australia for Nazi salute and people basically paying tribute to Nazis who were responsible for the Holocaust.
Minutes from the Reserve Bank's March meeting suggest a pause on interest rate rises will be on the agenda next month. Board members noted a number of conflicting signals about the strength of the economy. It's as new RBA analysis found 1 in 5 Australians are in mortgage prison. A raft of interest rate rises has left many borrowers unable to meet a serviceability test. Assistant Treasurer Stephen Jones insists it's on the government's radar.
We will look at all of these issues. We're currently looking at a range of other issues in this space. We want to ensure, first and foremost, in the middle of a crisis, no knee-jerk responses.
A new Aussie study into vaping has identified addiction, poisoning, seizures and headaches as potential health risks. AMA President Professor Steve Robson says more needs to be done to stop young people from accessing the devices.
We know at the moment that there are laws, particularly about young people vaping. They're just not enforced. A great first step to help young Australians would be to enforce the laws that are there and try and protect the next generation from being hooked on these vapes.
The federal government is being urged to ban new coal and gas projects following the release of a damning report. The UN warns the world needs to make deep cuts to its emissions to avoid disastrous climate change. Independent Senator David Pocock says the report should inform Australia's climate policy over the coming years.
It's grim, it's sobering, it's a call to action. It's a reminder that things are bad, but we have a narrow window to act.
Joe Biden looks set to become the first American president to address federal parliament since Barack Obama more than a decade ago. The US president has been invited to address federal parliament when he visits Australia in May for the Quad Summit. And Amazon is slashing 9,000 employees globally over the coming weeks. It's the second big cull of staff at the online retailer this year. Sport and entertainment are next. Hawthorn High Performance Manager Peter Burge has confirmed Chad Wingard has been ruled out of Sunday's clash against Sydney after suffering a minor calf injury in the loss to Essendon. The Rabbitohs have been hit hard by injury ahead of Saturday night's NRL showdown with the Sea Eagles, and Damon Egan and Hannah Darlington will captain men's and women's Indigenous teams for an inaugural T20 tour of Vanuatu. In entertainment news, Molly Meldrum has apologised, admitting he's embarrassed after apparently being filmed exposing himself and urinating at a Rod Stewart concert in Melbourne. The Australian music legend is still suffering from the effects of a head injury suffered back in 2011. His minders say while he was being cared for, they weren't made aware of the incident until yesterday. Matt Damon has unveiled new ink along with its very special meaning. The tat, which says Nomad, was his late dad's boat, as well as saying Damon backwards. And Meghan Markle's former BFF appears to have taken a subtle swipe at the Duchess as she celebrated her 43rd birthday. Jessica Mulroney sharing a glimpse of a recent night out with her 400,000 Instagram followers, with a caption paying tribute to the friends who love and stand by her unconditionally. And that's the latest from the Nova Podcast News team. But we'll see you tomorrow morning for another episode of The Update.